Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's nugget. We are going to be creating some labels today, kind of like the ones that you see here on the screen. It is Christmas time right now that I'm recording this, so there is a bit of a Christmas theme, but you certainly don't have to limit it to Christmas time. You could use these for anything. You could use it for name tags or sticking it on thank you gifts that you give out through the year, happy birthday, whatever. So I hope everybody can think of something that they could use this for. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to start out with a brand new document. Since we're already in Word, I'm going to do Control N, and that gives us a brand new document. We're first going to go into mailings, and then way over here it says labels. Now this isn't how you would do personalized ones for different people. If you had a whole bunch of people's names in a spreadsheet or something, or a Word document, a table or something, this isn't how you would do that. You would go in and you would create them this way. Mail merge, we do that in our Word Beyond the Basics course. We'll look at labels here. This assumes that you want the whole page of labels with the same information. So if you want to mix it up a little bit, then you'll want to learn about mail merge labels. So here it's talking about the address because it thinks it's a mailing label, but we can put whatever we want. Thank you for all you do. Okay, I could put more on that if I wanted to. Maybe I'm going to put my company name. And notice here it says full page of same label. Make sure that's on. And then down here it talks about, well, what kind of label is it? So I'm going to click on that. I could click on options as well. And it comes up and asks me to pick my labels. Now I've done labels before, so it's guessing at my favorite label, which is the 5161. You'll want to grab your label box and look for a 4 or 5 digit number on there. It's probably an Avery type of label, so make sure up here where it says label vendors, when you first go in here it'll say Microsoft, so make sure that it's Avery, unless of course it's some Microsoft labels that you have, but usually Avery US letter. Now I've lost my place here, so I can just click on one of them and I can start to type 5161, and there I am, and it tells me the dimensions over here. Now it's actually pretty good if you keep it at that and that's your actual one. It's a little bit better than going in and doing a new label. So hopefully you can find your label in here. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to say new document. Now don't worry about your text. We can make all the changes later. But what it does is it creates for you a one-page label sheet. I'm going to Control Wheel out, and you can see what it is. All it really is just a table. So what you want to do is click in your table and then go up here to Layout. Now it's the layout way over on the right-hand side, not the layout way over on the left-hand side. So Layout here. And what you'll want to do is over on the side say View Grid Lines. Now this is great for us to know where one row starts and where row one ends, as well as the columns. Now here, if I was going to put a little picture or something under it, I don't know where it should go. So view grid lines, and it's just viewing them. It's not going to print them. If you want to print your grid lines, maybe making it easier to cut if you're cutting as opposed to peeling off labels, then you could go in and you could work with the borders and select it all, and then you'd say all borders. Okay, but this is a little bit different. So what I usually do is I spend some time making this look nice. So maybe I want it, I don't know, because it's Christmas red, maybe I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And we'll talk about centering. I'm going to center it. Now, if I wanted a picture beside it, that's not leaving much room for a picture. What I could actually do is I could drag the right indent over, and this controls how it does its centering. So it says you want this much room to center. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it then, and that's fine. Maybe what I would do is I would put it in a better spot. Maybe that looks better on 2 rows. Or what I could do too is I could maybe put that in smaller font. There you go. And maybe I would move it down 1. Speaking of font, I want it a little bit fancier than that, so I'm going to go in and maybe I'll make, I like this ink-free one. You can go in and look at all your different ones that you want. If I think that I want it a little bit further from the top, so a little bit more space at the top, I can either just press enter. Sometimes it goes a little bit too far, or I can go and adjust some line spacing. So in my format paragraph here, I can go in and give it, I don't know, maybe 12 points just to shift it down a little bit. That actually looks really good. So depending on the font size and how much you type, and that will depend on this. Now, when you are happy with this, that's when you should copy it over to the next one. So I'm going to select that, I'm going to copy it, and I love hitting tab because tab will select, and when I paste into a cell, it puts it on there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put actually 2 different pictures on here, then we're going to take the whole row and copy and paste them down to create the rest of our sheet. So that's the first part, putting your text in and making sure that you love it. Okay, so I am going to go into pictures and I'm going to go to stock images. Those ones are nice and quick. I'm going to go up to illustrations. You can go wherever you want. Maybe you have a logo that you want to put in. I made labels to put on my power bars that say property of Know It Sooner Computer Training and my phone number and my logo. So if you had a logo to put in right now, you'd be grabbing that right now instead. So I'm going to put Christmas, enter, and maybe I'll scroll down a little bit and find a nice one. You'll want to pick one that's kind of upright portrait rather than landscape, just because of the space that you're putting it into. Now, it puts it in a weird spot, but what you can do is while it's still selected, don't click somewhere else because it is there somewhere and you might have a hard time finding it later. We can say in front of text. So the little guy beside it, layout options, in front of text. And I don't really mean that I'm going to be putting it on top of text, but what I like about it is that you can move it just about anywhere that you want. And you can make it bigger and smaller. And here's where it's really handy to have those grid lines so that you can see a little bit about what you can get away with. Now what I really like about these illustrations as well is that you can click on it, you can go to graphics format, or yours might say picture format depending on what version. And if you go to graphics fill, look at that, you can go in and you can pick a different color for it. So a lot of those, it's not really sure what color you like, although it would have been handy to have a green tree, but that's okay. So if you want the same one over here, really easy to do, you can just copy that cell and it will take everything in it. Or if you want a different picture. So we'll go insert pictures again, we'll go stock images, and we'll go to illustrations. And we'll put Christmas again. You can put whatever you wanted, really. Let's do these bells, they're kind of nice. Insert. Again, it puts it wherever it wants. Go up to it, in front of text, drag it over. These guys, I'm going to move it way down here. And drag the top. They were quite small, weren't they? Now, it's kind of picky about changing the color of this one because there's 2 bells, but you can go in and you can play with it a little bit and see what makes sense. Blue, right? So these are all free things, so sometimes you don't get a lot of choice over what to do with them, but I mean, if you don't like it, certainly go in and pick something different. All right, I kind of like that blue. Okay, we are almost done. Now what we want to do, I'm going to zoom out here, control wheel to zoom out. We've got a whole sheet of labels. So I'm going to go way over to the left hand side. You can see how I'm selecting everything. I'm going to control C. Then I'm going to go to the second row and I'm going to control V. And you'll see what it's doing. It's giving us new rows and it's putting our other rows onto the next page. So I'm just going control V, I'm just pasting and pasting. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to select them all. Way over on the left hand side it's a great way to select them all. Make sure that I don't have that enter at the bottom. Hopefully you're using this little guy here to tell you if there's an enter there or not. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to say delete rows. And now we're back to our one pager. So if you were to print this, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to go file print just to be sure. And what I sometimes recommend here is print one just on normal paper and then take your label sheet right on and put it right under the paper, maybe hold it up to a window or something, and you can see where the lines are and make sure that it's doing well here. Make sure that it's when you go to stick your label sheet in, it's going to take it properly. If you haven't messed around with things like top margin and bottom margin and don't put an extra enter at the top or the bottom or anything, it should be good. It's pretty good as long as you were able to pick the exact label. So then you'd be able to modify this. Maybe it's a summer picnic that you're doing and you're thanking some volunteers. You can easily switch out your pictures if you want. You don't even have to have pictures in there if you don't want to. You could put your logo in or whatever. If you do make a change to it, then you're going to have to copy and paste again. So it's really important that you do all the formatting at the beginning so that you don't have to end up copying and pasting, but you probably will if you're like me. You just want to, oh, now I want to make it a different color or darken it, or maybe you print it off and it doesn't look good. So I hope you like this fun little nugget, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.